My name is Tommy Lynch. I'm the Director of Parks and Recreation for Metropolitan Nashville. This is a very big day for the Parks Department, and this is a very big day for this end of the county. I've been involved with several land purchases with the mayor and through the council over the years, and most of them have had to do with land preservation from an environmental aspect. This has a much higher level, aside from being from the environmental aspect, but from the historical and the archaeological standpoint. This is a very big day to Nashville, and I'm very proud to be a part of this activity this afternoon and this announcement. With that, you don't need to hear from me anymore. I'd like to introduce our mayor, Mayor Karl Dean.
Well, thank you, Tommy. And before we get started, I'd like to introduce a couple council members here who are with us. Councilman Stein, Ronnie, I saw you, I'm sure. There he is. And Carter Todd, who's had a real interest in this project. Thank you, Carter, for being here. You know, over the past few years, my administration has spent some time working to acquire open space and to preserve the natural character of the city. With the open space plan we announced in 2011, we set a goal for Metro government and private landowners to preserve 22,000 acres over the next 25 years. And we've steadily made progress toward that goal, with Metro acquiring more than 3,300 acres since then. And as we work to become a healthier city, it's critical that we have places where people can be active and move around, and being surrounded by the beauty of nature makes exercise even more fun and more pleasant. But it's rare that we get to acquire a piece of undeveloped property that also happens to be an incredible historic site. The land we're standing on right now, and the rest of the 6.7 acres around us, was a Native American settlement in the 1400s. Long before this was Nashville, more than 300 years before James Robinson and John Donaldson sailed down the Cumberland River and founded our city, people lived and worked and raised families on this site. They hunted and fished and farmed here. They built a wooded palisade to keep their animals in and their enemies out. They cooked and slept and played on these grounds and buried their loved ones here when they died. When state archaeologists started looking at this site back in the late 1990s, they found the remains of 12 structures in one approximately 3,000 square foot area alone. They also found the fortified wooden palisade, the graves of 7 people, dozens of artifacts, some of which you can see on these easels to my left. That settlement didn't last forever. But we can protect this land and this historic record forever by purchasing it from the developer who owns it. I hope we'll be able to turn the Kellytown property here into a metro park. Our Parks Board will make the final decision on that, but I think it makes sense for the city, and I'm confident that they will agree. And I know some of you in the audience today have ideas on how to incorporate educational materials about Native American settlers' lives into the park. When the Metro Council meets tomorrow night, I trust it will approve the legislation that will allow us to buy this land. We plan to spend $740,000 to acquire this property, and I think that is money very well spent when we look at the return we'll get in historic preservation, open space preservation, and in the health of our citizens. If we lose an historic site like this, we will never be able to get it back. But Metro isn't just doing this alone. I give great credit to the Friends of Kellytown, who have raised over $400,000 toward preserving this land and are contributing that money to Metro. I also want to give a big round of applause to Friends of Kellytown and its chairman, Ridley Wills, for all their hard work and perseverance. Now, perhaps the man who has worked the hardest to save this land is former Forest Hills Mayor Bill Koch. Mayor Koch has worked tirelessly to promote this effort and to preserve the artifacts at Forest Hills City Hall and to raise money. He has led a very successful effort, and he has done so with a devotion and loyalty to the city of Nashville and to the city of Forest Hills and to the metropolitan government, and I want to thank him for that, and I want to thank him for his extraordinary leadership in this effort. Bill, come on up.
Thank you, Mayor Dean. Who would have dreamed a year ago that we would be on this Kellytown site celebrating the preservation of this archaeologically historic place? But here we are, and are we ever celebrating? I want to spend my time recognizing people who have played a significant role in getting us to where we are. And the first person to celebrate is the late Gary Barker. Gary was the TDOT archaeologist, along with Gerald Klein, who did the Hillsboro Pike right-of-way digs, discovering the significant Mississippian period village lying below the surface. He also gave it the name of Kellytown in honor of then property owner Mrs. Elizabeth Douglas Levine Kelly. When I first met Gary, he had just learned that he had cancer. Over the 2 years that I knew him, he had two major goals: to beat his cancer and to publish the Kellytown Archaeological Report. He lost the battle with cancer and died about a year ago, but he saw to it that the report was published, which it was shortly done before he died. And here it is, all 224 pages of his report. I was hoping his widow, Donna Barker, would be here today. We could recognize her, but she was not able to make it. The next person, of course, to recognize is Mayor Dean himself. Mayor Dean has a broad vision of what Nashville needs to become in the future. This includes preserving significant green spaces such as Kellytown. He recognized its importance and put the resources of his office to work to make it happen. I also need to recognize my two former colleagues on the Forest Hills City Commission, recently elected Mayor John Lovell and Vice Mayor Lanson Hyde. Early in the game, they supported having Forest Hills make the initial $100,000 gift for the preservation of Kellytown. I thank both of them for their vision for preserving green spaces within Forest Hills and adjacent to Forest Hills. For the last year, an intrepid group of volunteer directors known as the Friends of Kellytown has directed, schemed, cajoled, and worked hard to see that the property did not become a commercial development, but rather that it became an archaeologically important green space for all the citizens of Metro Nashville and hopefully northern Williamson County. I want to recognize this intrepid board of directors. Ridley Wills III, as the mayor has already pointed out, has been the hard-working and enthusiastic chairman. The members are Warner Bass, John Cooper, Matt Foster, Joe Hoxton, Clay Jackson, Henry Joes, Kay Simmons, and Henry Trost. Ably assisting them have been the staff from Forest Hills, Amanda Deaton-Moyers and Cynthia Despot. After the first of the year, we will begin to work with Tommy Lynch and Tim Netch and others at Metro Parks to develop the site. A part of that planning will be a wall with inscriptions for all of you here who have made financial commitments for the purchase of the land. We don't know exactly what happened to the Mississippian people who lived on this spot 700 years ago, but we do know that their spiritual heirs in the Native American community have made sure that we respect their culture and their burial spots. Representing them, I would like to call on Pat Cummings with the American History Association.
Thank you, Mayor Dean. Thank you, former Mayor Koch. Thank you all for being here today. I never thought 16 years ago that I would be standing in front of a group of people on this property as we are here today. My involvement in this property, along with my Native American brothers and sisters, goes back 16 years. TDOT first discovered burial sites in the path of a road widening project, of course, over here on Hillsboro Road. And it was brought to our attention immediately that we could quite possibly go to a court of law and have our opinions heard for the first time in Tennessee history. A group of us totaling about 20 people jumped at the opportunity to finally have our voices heard in a court of law in the state of Tennessee in regard to preserving our ancestral burial grounds. All this led to litigation in 2 courts, both in Williamson County and Davidson County. The case in Davidson County stretched on for 10 years. Yes. We were partly successful in what we set out to do in keeping the ancestors in place. All I'm going to say is that we were able to set precedents, we were able to make a difference, and TDOT is nothing like it was 16 years ago in regard to how they treat Native American sacred sites today as opposed to what it was once like. We're so grateful to TDOT for being willing to sit down at a table and compromise with the Native American people and take our concerns seriously. We're eternally grateful to the Friends of Kellytown, Mayor Koch, all your colleagues with the Friends of Kellytown, the City of Forest Hills, Ridley Wills, thank you so much for all your efforts. I'm just overwhelmed standing here. You can hear my voice quivering because it's very emotional. We have deep ties to this land. Our ancestors weren't given a choice. When settlement came to Middle Tennessee, we were basically asked to step aside. We did that, but weren't given the chance to claim our burial grounds until today. And I can stand here today on behalf of the Native American people, not just here in Tennessee, but across the country, and say, hey, oh, thank you, grandfather, for giving us back our right to be able to stand on sacred land and honor all those ones who came before us so many hundreds and hundreds of years ago. So, with that, again, truly, it's an honor to be here today, to see so many wonderful people gathered for such an important cause. This site stands to educate so many young children as time passes on. It stands to educate so many people, not just children. And it's just a wonderful, joyous day for the Native American people. It's a wonderful, joyous day for Nashville and for Middle Tennessee. So with that, I thank you once again. Oh.
Thank you, Mr. Cummings. I hope we at the Parks Department continue to honor the traditions and respect the land as you see fit. With that, that concludes our program. We have refreshments. So if you want to stay around and visit and talk, we have a couple staff members that have been experienced on this piece of property. So thank you for coming today. Thank you for those who did participate and who did donate and who kept this story alive and got it to this point. Thank you so much.